I'm Kate. Let's talk theater. Today we are doing some very needed binder organization because I am realizing that I'm incredibly behind. I was taking a look at my binders and just doing some bookshelf organizing and realizing how much of a stack I had going. And we'll take this here. Looking at my binder here, this is my newer one. We have June getting us started, and it only goes into July, and this doesn't even have a ticket, so I didn't even actually finish that. The play that goes wrong is the last one to actually be properly taken care of. So what we do is when we have paper tickets, that's great, but we all know paper tickets are not always easy to come by. So let me get you an example. Actually, I have all paper tickets in here. So what we'll do with Gypsy is go into our email from Telecharge, bring up the PDF. We're going to clip the piece of the ticket that says the date, the show, the seat, and all of that. And we print it out and we slip it into here. I love having the binders and I love having them properly organized. I think it's really helpful just for memory keeping sake, but it's also really helpful when you start to maybe go to shows that are having shorter runs. You're maybe then going back to the same theaters multiple times. It's helpful for me to know where I've sat before, because then if I'm thinking about maybe getting tickets to a new show, I kind of have an idea of like what my experience was like before, so I like to have all of that information available. So for my binders, I do Broadway, Off-Broadway, and tours of Broadway shows. They all are the same size, so you have the Playbill, but you also have this is actually regional, so we're gonna do something else with this. We'll talk about that. They all tend to be still uniform. It's rare, I have found, that the regional, this is Axelrod, which is in New Jersey. The regionals are varying sizes, which is why I leave the regionals out. They just kind of have a drawer. They don't have a good system. I want to get a better system. Maybe boxes, like just stacking them up into a box and labeling the box. I should do that. So the notebook is Connecticut, again, a different company, but they're the same size. So it's like the smallest amount off, but I don't think it's gonna matter. And because this is a tour, it goes in. We're gonna get rid of the Alzheimer's Association talkback. This was something they did at the end of my show. I didn't stay because it was about local resources. But I do really appreciate that they did something like this, right? I think it's really important when theater is about real life, and so when we can use it to have a little moment of advocacy, a little moment of resources, I think that's really wonderful. Romeo and Michelle was off-Broadway for a very, very short time. I really had a great time. It was really fun. I thought it was a blast. I guess other people didn't. That's okay. We did get a real ticket, which we love. I got this through TDF, so it was a great price, and we were third row, and it was just phenomenal. This process is so much easier when you have the tickets already. I think Queen of Versailles is next. Yes. Queen of Versailles. Queen of Versailles was interesting, actually, because I have 2 tickets. I guess just due to sales and maybe just the fact that I was in a 2-person party, we were actually moved from row S center in orchestra to row K. So it was very significant and it made a huge difference. This was in the St. James, and so when we were in S, I think it was like the second to last row of the orchestra, but with the mezz, the overhang, I think would have pretty significantly obstructed. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to staple these together, just like with one little thing, and I will be right back. I've done that before with shows, especially, I guess really just with COVID. I mean, it doesn't really happen very often, right? So with COVID, I had tickets to Company that was then canceled, and then when we finally made it, I'd stapled those together just sort of as a memento of when we were originally supposed to go. And then Waitress was on tour in Philadelphia. I think it was going to come in May of 2020, and so we got like new tickets because they actually moved venues. So with Philly, they were just using the old tickets. You held on to them, but they changed venues. They moved to a bigger venue, so we got fresh tickets, new seats. I then complained because we were front row, and then we were moved all the way back to like the 10th or 15th row, something like that, something like really ridiculous. And this was a bigger venue, so I complained. I was like, that's way far off to be a replacement, like don't play. And they moved me up then to the front row. So always complain. Always be that person. We have our 3-show day, it looks like. What's that? Okay. So 3-show day was Heather's. Heather's was telecharge lottery, so we're going to need to track it. I think the fact that I often have to pair them and do get the ticket, print it out, it makes more sense to then print a bunch onto one paper, so then I put it off, but then I put it off for like way too long. It's fine. Then we saw Bo. Again, different playbill, different theater booklet, but similar in size. Bo was TDF, so we did pick up a ticket. Wait, where are the Outsiders? Two Strangers. That's a telecharge. We actually got these through the theater app, but it was someone's telecharge lottery, so I do have to get those. But then where's the Outsiders? When did I go to the Outsiders? I went to the Outsiders before the Notebook. Oh, it was September. I've totally missed it. So it was right before the Notebook. Okay, so we are working with needing to track down, I think they're all telecharge. Yeah, is telecharge the only one still doing digital tickets at this point? We have to hunt down Gypsy, the Outsiders, Heather's, and Two Strangers. Carry a Cake across New York. We're gonna pause filming. I'm gonna boot those up, and then we'll loop back. There you go. So these are all tucked away. Actually, let me show you what I'm talking about. So as you can see, I just have this little guy. So it's just part of the ticket. It's got the theater, the date, the time, the seat, order number, barcode, all that stuff. But I think these are really just helpful for, again, just my memory, knowing when these all were. It was a lot of fun having to go through. When I first started putting the binders together, I had a drawer full of years of playbills, and at that point I had seen Company on Broadway 6 times, and having to like decipher which playbill was which, because I think I'd only gone on when understudies were on once, and so there weren't like slips to help me. So that was a different story. It was a little more complicated, but I do find this really nice and really helpful. Yeah, and especially too, sometimes when I go to multiple shows or shows multiple times, getting to differentiate and have, yeah, just marking my experiences. For today, this is taken care of. As you can see, the binder is blank, and the binder is going to stay blank until we decide, or not we decide, but we finish. So it's June 1st to something. And we've got Some Like It Hot as of right now through to Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York, which ended up being my final Broadway show of the year. So there you go. We've got lots of more to talk about, full reviews and West End shows and the regionals and the whole thing, and so we'll definitely have some year in review stuff coming along. But I wanted to kind of get started because beginning of the year is also coming with a little bit of organization and realizing what has sort of fallen by the wayside in terms of keeping some of this together. I would love to know your thoughts if you have ways that you handle all of your playbills. Do you even keep your playbills? I know a lot of people hang them up. How do you decide which ones you hang up? That's my thing. I could never decide which ones go up, so they all need to equally go into the book, and then I will just peruse as needed. I like these as well because I can easily pop in, pull it out and look at it if I want to be reminded of something. And so, I just did that the other day. I was looking at Sondheim Old Friends. We were talking about whether or not Not a Day Goes By was in this. So we went in and we're looking at the song list. So I really recommend a Playbill binder if you have not used one before. If you're looking for a way to kind of handle everything, I think this is a really good option. I think it really keeps everything easy. I do find you are going to want to find a way to ultimately have, I think, them standing once they're full, because they can easily slip out. But as it gets full, they kind of all squish each other in, and the weight kind of helps. But when you're still working on it, we don't need to keep this. When you're still working on it, it's definitely a little bit of a pain, I will admit. But I do, what is that? My Moulin Rouge playbill was like cut weird. That was like excess paper. Well, putting that away. So yes, this is good to go for a little bit. Like I said, I have lots of other things to get a handle on, especially my West End programs, which is going to be its own beast. But the playbills are nice and easy and free, so those are taken care of. So thank you so much for watching, so much for organizing with me. Let me know how you organize some of your theater memorabilia. I'm very curious to hear what other people do, because if you go to a lot of shows, you end up with all this memorabilia, and it's nice to keep it nice and to keep it, well cared for in some way. So if you could like, comment, share, do the YouTube thing, subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. If you're interested in seeing more like short form content from me, you can find me on TikTok at Theater Kates as well. I really appreciate you taking the time to organize with me today and chat about some theater, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye!